the key to unlock a little bit more movement and coil on the backswing, and I'm going to show you what it is and how it can improve your game. Really, it's all about sequence and order, relatively consistently, I think, so it can improve you straight away, to allow everything to move correctly all the way through the swing. Repetition is the mother of skill. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Warren Bennett. We got Trev mooching around the garden somewhere, enjoying himself. And with this video, as you can tell with the thumbnail, it's called the Nicklaus effect. And Jack Nicklaus was given this swing thought and was given this by his old coach. And I'm going to show you what it is and how it can improve your game. Quite simple, and I like to give people some kind of simple feeling so it can improve you straight away. But like with everything, there's a wrong way and a right way, and I'm going to tell you both those things. Just going to get the front camera set up and we'll see you in a bit. Right, okay folks, well I'm just going to hit some balls before we get going. Oh dear, that's a stiff one. After a few of these shots I'm going to show you what I'm kind of feeling here. What can you see? What stands out? I'm going to show you. It's one thing that I think I do pretty well. Make sure I don't hit Trev. Now, I'm not on full revs at the moment, haven't played golf in a while, but I think I've got my sequence in the right place. Yes, I'm a professional and I've worked at it and sound like a bit of an idiot, but there's a reason why this golf ball's behaving as it is, so really it's all about sequence and order. And getting this club back to the ball pretty square under speed, obviously. There's no extremes. That's the benefit I've got, thankfully, recently over the last 10 years. I've got some repetition. But that comes with things moving in the right way. Remember, in golf, there's some things that don't move and some things that do. And for the things that aren't moving, allow the other things to move. And this is what this Nicklaus effect is all about.
The single most important element in swinging a golf club is a steady head. Without a steady head, all the other fundamentals go out the window.
So I'm going to show you, actually, from a different angle that I've never done before in any of the videos a little bit later on, and hopefully it'll give a great explanation of what I'm trying to say, a visual explanation. Right, okay, so that's enough of me hitting a few rebounders. So hopefully I'll have my facts right. Now, as far as I know, Jack Nicklaus went to see a coach called Jack Grout. There was obviously more to it than this, but the story has it, and from Nicklaus himself, Jack Grout literally held Jack Nicklaus's head and just told him to carry on hitting balls. Now obviously there was more to it than that. A young Jack Nicklaus might have been moving around too much, so Jack Grout liked a golf swing, as well as I do, that doesn't move very much in the head. Everything moves around it. So as you can see with those swings I just did, and I'll slow a few down whilst I'm talking, is yes, there's movement of the head, but it's more kind of, the movement of the head just kind of moves that way, just kind of side to side a little bit instead of laterally. So you don't really want any excessive movement of the axes of the golf swing, which I think is the top of the head. So if you can keep your axes relatively still, everything can work around that, and I'll show you what that is in a minute, relatively consistently, I think. Okay, let me tell you what I can kind of layer into your golf swing. So what you don't really want to do, first of all, is you don't really want too much movement of the head. Because if I move off the ball, so turn is a bad thing in golf. Turn to me means you're kind of moving your shoulders too much and being pulled off the ball. So that could be explained as, yes, I've moved and turned my shoulders a long way, but you're going to create, number one, not a lot of power from there. Number two, it's very hard to get back to the ball correctly from there in the correct order. Because if you move your shoulders too much and you get pulled off the ball, you're going to have to do it the same to get back. And that's going to make the golf swing kind of a little bit too upper half dominant. So what I think you should do is you should be able to twist your body, and I call it a coil rather than a turn. It's a coiling, wait for the motorbike to go past, a coiling of the body around the head that stays relatively still. Now there's still weight going back onto my right side, but it's not a sway. You don't have to have a forced sway like that. So that's what I think Jack Grout was getting Jack Nicklaus to do. And that's not just in the backswing. Remember, you want to try and keep the axes still to allow everything to move correctly all the way through the swing until kind of 3/4 of the way through your follow through.
I like to feel as though I have a stake driven down through my head, down through my body, and into the ground. And I rotate around that stake when I play a shot. Really, you don't want to be moving your head because you have just too many variables. So let's try to keep our head right in one spot and leave it there throughout the golf shot.
So keeping your head relatively level, because that's what I like. I like a level head more than a still one, because I'm going to kind of sound like a broken record if you've seen any of the previous videos, is that the side of my caps here are looking down, so you can see with the lines. You don't want those side of the cap, you don't want those lines looking completely down throughout the whole backswing especially. So if I keep my cap looking down to the ball, that's about as far as I can go. And that's wrong. So what's going to give you that kind of the key to unlock a little bit more movement and coil on the backswing is you could be able to move your head, and you'll be able to see with the sides of the cap now on the way back, my peaks of my cap are now looking kind of a few feet behind the ball now, but I haven't actually physically moved it away. I've just kind of twisted it, so it's like my eyes are kind of now looking over there, but they're not, they're looking down at the ball. So I'm just kind of seeing the ball out of my left eye a little bit more now. And that gives me the freedom to move without moving my head backwards. And it's the same on the follow through. It's allowed to move, but it's not moving up and moving around. Remember, the worst thing and the best thing you can hear is keep your head still. So what you want to do is not keep your head still and be totally restrictive. That's obviously wrong. You want to keep your head still, or level we say, whilst there's movement. So how can you transfer that, me talking to you on the camera, and how can you transfer that over to your golf swing? So feedback. So club across the shoulders, you don't even need a club, but we'll stick a club because it's quite good visual. Club across the middle of your shoulders pretty much. Now from here, you're just twisting. So you want the club to be pointing behind the ball as you look at it. So you can see there with a line, it's now looking back behind the ball. If I keep my head dead straight, that's about as far as I can go. I'm going to point my eyes and my nose over towards those 4 balls whilst looking down with my left eye. Obviously you can't see that. So my head's looking towards those 4 balls, as you can see with the line, but my eye, I'm kind of looking at it more dominantly with my left eye now. And then the same on the follow through, slow motion, keeping it back, keeping it nice and level. So my club is kind of pointing back behind the ball all the way through. My club is now going to, the grip end's going to point in front of the ball. So it doesn't point up, as you can see there, that's wrong from the behind view to level. That's going to get pulled up. So shoulder tilt on the backswing is going to keep the head level. Too many people I see have a high shoulder tilt, you see that? And there's no question you can't keep your head still from there. It's going to get pulled up. Great exercise because it gives you feedback of where your shoulders are pointing basically. Is you want your shoulders to be pointing kind of 45 degrees looking down. If you're not sure, you can do it in front of a mirror, do it in front of a window reflection. Left shoulder down, still got weight on my right side. Twist, right shoulder down. You can see I've kicked in, nice and level. Haven't looked up yet. You can see I'm looking at the ball with my left eye, predominantly. Twist, looking down at the ball with my right eye. Obviously in a normal golf swing I'm kind of looking up there, but I haven't gone high. So shoulder tilt in golf keeps the head level. Repetition is the mother of skill. Left shoulder down, see the sides of my cap are now looking behind the ball. Twist, that's about impact, kind of level, back to level again, and then through swing I'm kind of looking kind of down the line, but if I just twisted back, I'd like you to encourage yourself to keep looking down. Keep the axes nice and level. Everything can work more efficiently around that. That's important in golf. Right, so we can do a few practice swings like that. So we're going to feel like my shoulders are pointing down. You can kind of stop at the top. You can check it in a mirror if you like, or you can kind of stay there. Well, that looks pretty similar than what I had. Okay, so that we can feel like our left shoulder's pointing down. right shoulder's pointing down. It's a right old fluffer, but it doesn't matter because it's new. Anything new, don't get too frustrated if it doesn't work within 2 or 3 shots. Just keep with it. Remember, you're not used to having that kind of new thing introduced into your golf swing. So left shoulder down, keep twisting, head nice and still. Right shoulder down. It's a little bit better, still a bit flumpy, but it was better. And I think there was a video 2 or 3 ago where it was all about shoulder tilt. It's the same thing. You never want to lift up at all. Because if you're lifting up, probably your shoulders are pulling your head up. So it's nothing to do with your head. So let's really get these shoulders working a bit more, kind of down to down. So it's left shoulder down, right shoulder down. Remember, everything moves still. Nice and light with the grip. There we go. It's a bit rubbish at the start, now it's feeling a little bit better, and we've got a nice bit of draw spin you can see there. Right, so as you can see everyone, those above camera shots, really good perspective, isn't it, about what happens during the golf swing. So obviously it's a combination of twisting, but we are putting weight onto our back leg, but there's not a force movement from the top half here. So I would really recommend the more rotation we can have, so we're staying pretty centered here with our twisting, so our head stays pretty still over the ball. And if you're unsure of that, you can do these exercises with your arms across. If you can put your head on top of like a door frame, and it really feels like, wow, your head's not moving anywhere. But remember, there's coiling involved as well, and that's a real secret. Your head does move, but it twists more than kind of goes backwards. And it really produces power. You think there's a lot of rotary action sports. That's how you create natural speed, not by going too much linear, you see. Don't want to sound too technical, but the more rotary you have, the more natural speed, and the more inside you can deliver this club to the ball too. So it's a really good perspective, isn't it, that above view. It's hard to gauge because we don't really have a perspective of what our head is doing, especially if it's doing wrong things. But I would say having a great visual is a club across your shoulders. Very simple, it's been around for millions of years, but twisting, being able to see that club pointing down, and then you can see what your shoulders are doing, because if your shoulders are pointing down, your head is going to stay pretty level, back and through. And then you can feel a little bit of that in the golf swing too. You don't want to go too mad, just layering a little bit of that into your golf swing. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. And if this is anything that floats your boat, really, these type of videos and the channel here, I'd love to have you along as a subscriber if you haven't already. Because any like, any subscribe is so important for a little channel like this. Every video won't be for everyone, that's for certain, and I don't want it to be for everyone, because everyone's different. Everyone's got different faults, everyone's at different abilities and at different stages of their golfing career. You've got to be really careful as someone who looks at YouTube videos to be very careful about what you watch, because it can be quite destructive actually if you try and, you know, that paralysis by analysis, you kind of know too much. But what I'd like you to know is to understand your golf swing, know your faults, and then you kind of know what to look for. So it's like cooking a recipe. You wouldn't chuck something in a recipe that shouldn't be there. And it's the same with a golf swing. It's quite easy to get sucked into this is what Rory McIlroy does, for instance. That's not for everyone. You've got to be so careful, because you can go down a road, you can't get back. Well, not very easy anyway. By all means, get some advice from these type of channels. Come on, reinvent the wheel here. And no golf teacher does, and nor should they, because the golf swing hasn't really changed and it's worked previous. So you don't want to try and do anything too new and too funky here. And it's lovely to hear from you, so thank you for all your support. It means so much. For a little channel like this, it means so much. So thank you to each and every one of you. I really appreciate it. So from myself and a cloudy-ish UK now, it's rain's forecast actually in a couple of hours, so I might clear away, give Trev a cuddle. He looks like he's pretty chilled on the floor there. And until the next time, have a great golfing week, and we'll see you on the next one. Stay healthy on and off the golf course, and we'll see you then. Cheerio.